Our top story: India, Russia, China, Brazil and South Africa form one of the world's most important economic blocs. The BRICS Summit in South Africa's Johannesburg, beginning tomorrow, will seek to widen its influence and push for a shift in global geopolitics. Russia will be represented by Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, with President Vladimir Putin participating online. Also, as per reports, there is a strong possibility of a structured meeting between Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Chinese President Xi Jinping. President Ramaphosa will be joined by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Chinese President Xi Jinping and Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva. Putin decided against attending in person as he is the target of an international criminal court arrest warrant that South Africa is in theory bound to enforce. On Sunday, President Ramaphosa vowed South Africa will not be forced to side with any global power. He said, and I quote him, "While some detractors prefer overt support for their political and ideological choices, we will not be drawn into a contest between global powers." Well, as per the UN data, the BRICS grouping represents more than 1/4 of the global GDP and 42% of the world's population. Significantly, the BRICS have seen their economic influence increase over the past decades as drivers of global growth, trade and investment. The India-China border standoff has impacted bilateral ties with minimal diplomatic engagement between the two countries over the last 3 years. The indication about the meeting between PM Modi and Xi Jinping came from China's ambassador to South Africa. The envoy said, and I quote, "I'm confident that as two nations, two countries, we will have direct talks, direct meetings." Chen Xiaodong added, "I cannot say there is tension between us, but as neighboring countries, we have many common interests. At the same time, we have some problems." Indian National Security Advisor Ajit Doval will accompany Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the South Africa visit. Some 50 other leaders who are not BRICS members, including Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi and Indonesian President Joko Widodo, have confirmed they will attend the talks. At least 40 countries have shown interest in becoming members, with 23 having submitted their applications. Some of the countries aspiring to be BRICS members include Argentina, Bangladesh, Bahrain, Cuba, Ethiopia, Indonesia, Iran, Nigeria and Saudi Arabia. Expansion plans were first mooted last year, according to South Africa's Foreign Minister, Naledi Pandor. Well, this is, of course, the all-important BRICS Summit that we are talking to you about, and some very important countries joining us there. More importantly, this is supposed to be a bloc wherein the superpowers that are going to be the next globally important economic superpowers are going to be in attendance. And like we also told you, there are some other countries, around 40 countries, who have shown interest in becoming the members. And around 23 of them have submitted their applications, and some of them include aspiring members like Argentina, Bangladesh, Bahrain, China, Ethiopia, Indonesia, Iran, Nigeria and Saudi Arabia. And in fact, to get us more details, we got our correspondent Calden to join us right now, live from Johannesburg. Well, of course, she will be giving us more details on this summit. Calden, first of all, from what we know, Vladimir Putin will be joining the summit virtually and will not be physically present over there. What does this allude to? At the outset, with Putin not being there, does this mean, and can we say that he is getting more and more isolated by the international community?
Yes, I think the Russians will not be happy, stating that Vladimir Putin is being more and more isolated by the other countries. South Africa has proven until the end, where they were scrambling, the whole world saw what South Africa was going through on whether or not Vladimir Putin should be invited to South Africa or not. South Africa stood by its ICC decision that should Russian president come to the country, step his foot into the South African soil, he would be arrested. Right. It was not an easy decision for the South African government, but time and again we were told there were press statements, there were engagements between the two presidents, that's the Russian president and the South African president, Cyril Ramaphosa, going back and forth on what is the right thing to do. Finally, just a few weeks before this summit that's going to start tomorrow, it was announced that the Russian president himself has said that, fine, I'm not going to attend in person, but virtually he will attend all the sessions that will be open for the 5 leaders from the BRICS countries. Of course, his representative, foreign minister from Russia, Sergei Lavrov, will be representing him. But at this point of time, South Africa is very much firm, stating that the only reason Russian President Vladimir Putin was requested not to come to South Africa was totally because of its of the ICC warrant of arrest issued to him.
Right. Also, Calden, this is the first time that the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping come under one roof for the first time after the G20 summit in Bali in November last year. What are you hearing from your sources about this possible meeting? What do you think is going to be on the agenda? Does this also kind of signal to thawing of relationships between the two countries?
Well, Isha, what we've been hearing from sources around is Chinese President Xi Jinping will be arriving in the country around about 11 p.m. today. And what we've also been hearing is Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be coming to the country only tomorrow. Both the parties, as expected, everybody is waiting to see whether they will have their sidelines meeting, bilateral meetings between the two countries. Some of my sources says, in the formal program of the Indian Prime Minister, there's no such meeting, but they will only inform the media towards the end. But of course, if the two comes together, it's going to be very important. It's going to be a very important time for both the countries. As you know, China and India, they've been fighting with the border issues that they are having. But if you go back to some of the meetings that has been happening over the past few weeks, BRICS Summit, the NSA meeting, the International Relations meeting, there, the relations between the Chinese and the Indians have been quite cordial. In fact, both the parties stating that all the problems they have been having over the past should be resolved as soon as possible, and they will try their best to resolve all the issues. Of course, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Xi Jinping will meet, all eyes will be on them. We will keep our eyes and ears open on whether or not they will have a separate bilateral meeting on the side. But what I can confirm you as of now, what President Cyril Ramaphosa last night, while addressing the nation, said is South Africa is going to have a state visit with the Chinese President Xi Jinping tomorrow at the Union Buildings in Pretoria.
Also, Calden, which countries have given their consent to participate so far as expansion of BRICS is concerned?
So, Isha, what I can confirm to you now from very close sources, we have been confirmed that heads of the leaders of the countries from 46 countries will be participating. That is including 30 countries from Africa and the rest from the global south, like the Caribbean, South America, Asian countries will be participating. Last evening when President Cyril Ramaphosa was addressing the nation, he did confirm that 20 countries have formally given an application to the BRICS to be a part of BRICS. He said there are many other several countries that have shown interest too. Some of the countries like the UAE, UAE, the Iran, Bangladesh, for instance, from the African side, the Egypt, Ethiopia, they have been time and again asking the BRICS, to accept their formal application to join the BRICS. And yesterday, the president emphasized on how important expansion of BRICS is. What we are hearing that, country like yesterday, President Ramaphosa confirmed that South Africa is for the expansion of BRICS. We know China is at the forefront of expansion of BRICS, Russia also. But we are hearing that, right now at this stage, that Brazil may be one country that is adamant to not going ahead with the discussion of expansion of BRICS. And also for now, we haven't gotten a firm confirmation from India stating we do not know whether India is for the expansion of BRICS or they are not for the expansion of BRICS. So it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be a very important topic of discussion during this summit. Isha?
Thank you so much, Calden, for joining us with those details.